Super Stock fans? It's the One to Go Show Super Stock weekly episode, and we're going to bring back the power rankings. We're going to talk about winners each week. We're going to talk about champions, point battles, you name it. But before we do, a little shout out to our friends over at buyraceshirts.com. They're going to bring us the buyraceshirts.com One to Go Show power rankings each and every week. But if you need hats, shirts, hoodies, right, jackets, apparel, if your sponsors do, right, if you're part of clubs and they need them, buyraceshirts.com. They have great products. They're for racers. They're by racers. A lot of the best drivers in all of WISSOTA racing, they get all their stuff where? Buyraceshirts.com. Check them out. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about the 2022 champions. Moving forward next week, not everybody races for championships. I get it, right? Some people are like, I just run specials. We're going to talk about you next week. Okay, we will, I promise. But I know what it takes to run for a championship. And so does James Frantina. Make track championships great again. Super stock drivers, if you haven't been paying attention, if you're in that St. Cloud area, little shout out here, Granite City Motor Park. They're putting some money on the line for the track championship, a bunch of contingency prizes. You're going to want to check that out because he's all about rewarding those drivers that are racing weekly for track titles at the Granite City Motor Park. Pretty excited to check that out. So let's jump back to 2022. Okay, 2022, your track champions. We'll start with Minnesota, home of the Chicken Shack, Bemidji Speedway up in northern Minnesota. Matt Sparby, one of the nicest guys to strap in. Super good guy. Helps a lot of people behind the scenes, and he got another track championship over in Bemidji. He's got many over there, and 4 wins over there this year, 6 total on the year. But congratulations to Matt. Good luck in 2023. Fiesta City Speedway and the KRA Speedway. Fiesta City, of course, Montevideo, Minnesota. They are opening this Friday. KRA Speedway in Wilmer, Minnesota. Jake Knapper. In the 66, he took the turbine to the front, and he actually got 9 total wins on the year. 6 wins at Monty, 2 wins at Wilmer, and outstanding, super smooth driver. Car always looks sharp, but guess what? He ain't going to win the track championship in the super stock this year. Why? Because he's going to an A-Mod. He's jumping into an A-Mod in 2023, up for a new challenge, got himself a car. I don't know if the Super sold or not, but he's actually over the last couple of years been one of the strongest contenders in that division in Western Minnesota. And it's going to be a little bit of a buzzkill seeing him gone, but it's going to be fun to see what he can do. Good luck in that modified. Grand Rapids Speedway, Grand Rapids, Minnesota, another driver that will not be repeating his track championship. Veteran Don Smith, the 86, he did get a win in Grand Rapids. Another guy transitioning into the A-Mod for 2023. He's won in everything, right? Street claimers, street stocks, Midwest mods, super stocks, you name it. Why would anybody think that he can't win in a modified? Well, we're going to find out, right? We're going to find out. Adding to the modified division, Don Smith up in Grand Rapids. Good luck to him. Granite City Motor Park and the Big O, Ogilvy Raceway, runner-up in the national standings last year. Dexton Cook, the 78K, 21 wins on the year. Now, get this, though. 1 win at Granite, 3 wins over at Ogilvy. So, between the 2 tracks he won championships at, 4 wins, okay? 21 wins total. Next. You want to know how to win a natty? You got to get to 30, okay? So, the tracks that you race at weekly, you need to get at least 5, right? You got to get 5 wins at each of those tracks. And then add to that, get yourself over 30. Because if you want to beat the 7A, and I know that's his goal for this year, you're going to have to hit 30. But Dexton Cook, super consistent, always up front, always on the podium, and 21 wins and 2 track championships in 2022. Halverline Speedway. I'm kind of in the Halverline studio here, right, in my truck over in Proctor, Minnesota. Nick Oreskovich, the Flying Farmer from Mason, Wisconsin, 3 wins, 5 total on the year, but a track championship up in Proctor for Nick O. Now let's go over to the Hibbing Raceway in Hibbing. Kelly Laker, Tristan LaBarge taking the TRC ride, 5 wins, all of them at Hibbing. He was super tough there last year, but got to be the odds-on favorite to double up, go back-to-back with the track championship. Maybe he'll sneak over to Grand Rapids and be a contender. He only ran there a handful of times last year, but Tristan LaBarge, kind of an old-school racer. Let's see if he can go back-to-back. another driver that's not going to win a back-to-back championship, Ryan Flatten. So Flatten actually over in Madison, he had 4 wins over there, 5 total. Also jumped up to the A-Mod. He's got a turbine A-Mod. Of course, him and his dad put that together. Looked pretty good the couple nights he had it out there. So old Flatten there, I'm not really sure if he's gonna run a super stock at all. They've been super stock aces for a long time, but it'll be fun to watch him. And kind of that modified, kind of his. I think he'll be pretty good transition there. It's going to be fun to watch. Now, North Central Speedway up in Brainerd, Dylan Nelson. We're going to talk more about him in just a few minutes here. Outstanding season, 7 wins on the year at Brainerd, 10 total. Kind of said before the season, I have a feeling he's going to hit double digit. He did. He even take me in the deal, said I hit double digits. He sure did. Great season for him, and we'll see if he can double up over there. But here's the deal: he also won the Fastlane Super Stock Series, so he was also the champion in that. So a great season for Dylan Nelson. Now let's go back over here. So you got Dylan Nelson, Princeton Speedway. Let's stick with the Nelson lane. We got Dustin Nelson. Kind of a cool deal. He brought out the old Brewster Baker ride. He ran that up in Rapids. Missed the nights, or he would have been contending. He might have maybe had something for the championship there in Grand Rapids, but he did win. I think he's got, 452 track championships in Princeton. I think 8 maybe or 9. But Dustin Nelson with a great year, 3 wins, and he actually 7 total. Now, let's jump back to Dylan Nelson, because Dylan Nelson, of course, was in an affordable. Little news on this guy. Making the switch over to the Dirt Dueler. Got a car from Les Duhlman. We'll see if how that transition goes. Of course, there's a few of them fast Dirt Duelers out there. We'll see if this is going to be another one. Kind of a tough deal for affordable. They lost one of their top drivers in the region, but we'll see how he transitions. Viking Speedway over in Alexandria, either his 3rd or 4th in a row. Not 100% positive, but Trevor Sauer, number 21, 7 wins. He was dominant. Jeff Krause, I'm just going to ask you, you going to let this guy win all of them over there? Or are you going to have a little something for him this year? Matt Miller was pretty quick as well. So there's a few pretty good hot rods over at the big high flying half mile. But Trevor Sauer, he's kind of saying, tell you what, like he's been the cream of the crop the last few years. Let's see if that continues in 2023. Let's go out to Montana, where they've already had a little bit of super stock racing, by the way. We'll talk about that in a second. Big Sky Speedway out in Billings, John Tribble. He took the 3T, 1 win. He won by 3 points. 3, that's less than a feature win. Between first and second is 5. He won by 3 over Ryan Fashing last year. A great battle coming down to the wire. Congrats to him. Electric City Speedway out in Great Falls, Pacer Popham. Now, when I saw Pacer, I'm like, well, it's got to be PJ, right? Pacer Popham, this is the dad, senior, right? Well, why is that relevant? Because a long time ago, I have to look at the year, he actually has a former national championship in the street stock, over 20 years ago. Congrats, man. The old man getting her done. I call him an old man. He's going to whoop my ass if I ever go over there. But great to see old Pacer getting it done. 1 win on the year. Congrats on the track championship up in Great Falls, Montana. Gallatin Speedway over in Belgrade, Nick Hunter. I think night number 1, I think he expired a motor right away, which is not a good deal. The driver from Deer Lodge, 4 wins over at Belgrade, 5 total. He won by 4 points over Paul Lease last year. So that one came down to the wire as well. So some good super stock action. They need to get some streaming. They need to get some Dirt Race Central action out there in Montana so we can kind of catch some of the action over here. I'd love to see some more of those races. South Dakota, couple WISSOTA Super Stock tracks because my buddy over there at Casino Speedway is a super stock hater. Just kidding. You need to get super stocks there. You got a national championship contender in your state. We need to at least have a handful of them races so he can maybe contend for this deal. So Brown County Speedway in Aberdeen, Trevor Nelson. Outstanding season, as always. 21 total wins on the year, 7 wins alone in Aberdeen. And he kind of had a couple bad nights right out of the gate, and then Then he kind of put her in high gear and he was going. But he did have a little bit of a battle there. Nate Grell, he actually won the track championship in Miller, stole a couple wins from Trevor in Brown County. No wins, of course, at Miller, because I think Trevor won like most of them. But Trevor Nelson, one of the best out there in super stock races. If we can get that cat a Thursday or a Sunday track so he can contend, he could have something for the 7A and the 78K when it comes down to the end of the year. Like I said, we need Casino Speedway. Just saying. I mean, I'm gonna put it out there right now. So if you're from Watertown area, get this over to these guys, right? When they have the that little series that they have over there between the three tracks, right? When they have that, guess what they need to do? They need to add in super stocks, right? They add in super stocks for them, so you might have a contender here with Trevor Nelson. So they need to get that done. Now, let's go to Wisconsin. ABC Raceway, Steve Stewart. Kind of a fun story here. So he took a year, I think he took a year, maybe two off, right? Kind of doing the family thing. Now he's driving for Greg Kuklinski. If you're from the ABC, Ashland area, everybody knows the name Greg Kuklinski. That guy won a lot of races. But get this. I was kind of doing a little research. I talked to him. He has 8 championships up there in 4 different classes. He has championships. I think he won 2 in the mod, 2 in the super. Must have been 2 in the Midwest mod, maybe a 6-cylinder as well, and 2 in a row in the super stock division. So not many drivers have 8 track championships and 4 different classes they won championships in them. This guy here, when he unloads in Ashland, it don't matter what class he's in, he's going to contend. All right. Eagle Valley Speedway, Jerry's World, Jim Falls, another legacy name over there, Leslie Liu, right? I remember Lonnie Liu back in the day, Lance Liu, Leslie Liu, one of the newcomers, so to speak. Not necessarily a newcomer, but newer than those guys, of course. But no wins there. He did get a win at Rice Lake. He said the same thing. He's like, man, I'd love the track championship, but dang it, I'd give that away to win some more races. Well, it's a new year. Get her done. Here's another up-and-comer right here. This second-generation driver, I raced against his dad as well. Kyle Kopp, track champion at the Gondik Law Speedway, Superior, Wisconsin. 2 wins on the year at Superior, 6 total. But I'm telling you right now, this guy right here, right, if he would just make the decision to just focus, and nothing against Cedar Lake. I like Cedar Lake. Okay, we'll talk about them in a second. Cedar Lake should just go with WISSOTA for super stocks is what they should do. Because it's not like any other track at supers. Cedar Lake should go super stocks with WISSOTA. Okay. If they did that, Kyle Kopp, if he raced the street tracks, he could be another contender. This kid is absolutely getting faster and faster and faster. I think he's going to have a big year this year. Cedar Lake Speedway and the Red Cedar Speedway, Cedar Lake not sanctioned with WISSOTA, but Jesse Radetsky, another second-generation driver. His dad, one of the best ever. Of course, Jerry Radetsky. The 207, 7 wins total on the year. Benny Hillman, right? Took a few from him over at the Red Cedar Speedway. Benny moving into the modified division, though. I'm looking for Jesse to kind of have a 2-track championships, and I'm looking for a bounce back here, right? He did not have the year last year that he had the year before, right? But I tell you what, with Ben Hillman moving up, and Radetsky kind of having a few taken from him, he's going to be hungry here in 2023. Rice Lake Speedway, another guy that's been doing it a long, long time. Eric Olson, 1 win over there, driver from Ladysmith. But, boy, he's got to have, I don't know how many, but he's got to have a lot of track championships at Rice Lake. And up at the Thunder City Speedway, this driver up here, Cole Chernosky, he went 15 for 15. He would have won every night there, but he missed tonight. I think he came down to the XR Northern Storm Swing. 15 for 15 at Thunder Bay, right? He did come down to some specials at the end of the year. He kind of was pretty good, right? Then he gets to the Red Clay Classic at the ABC Raceway in Ashland. And he come from the 4th row to 2nd and was kind of tracking Shane a little bit. I'm telling you what, this Cole Chernosky cat is a flat-out wheelman in the Midwest mod and in the super stock division. I talked to him, and they had a pretty light car count. The supers last year they had eight or nine or whatever, not very many. He's like, with all the people they talk to, he said they're going to be looking at maybe 20 supers on a weekly basis, including, right, David Simpson, one of the best Midwest mod drivers up there. He's getting into one. Old veteran himself, Rick Simpson, getting back into one. So I don't think Cole Chernosky is going to go undefeated this year at Thunder Bay, but he's a hell of a wheel, man. He's going to have a good year. I'd love to see him come down to the States more. Now, a few of the series stuff, right? We mentioned the biggest series, so to speak, in Superstock racing, the Fastlane Superstock series, a great series. Dylan Nelson taking home the champion. The WISSOTA National Champion. No track championships for this guy, but every big race known to man, he contended for wins. We'll talk more about those wins next week. 35 on the year, the 7A, the Ironman, Shane Sobraski. I mean, if he unloaded the Superstock, you were like, oh shit, right? He's going to be good. WISSOTA Rookie of the Year, Nate Grell, from Hitchcock, South Dakota in the 2G. Congrats to him. And then your state champion. So, in fact, I got to jump back to the tracks here. I think I missed one. In fact, I know I did, but we're going to jump back. We'll just talk about them right now. So Salmon Valley Speedway out in Salmon, Idaho, they new WISSOTA track here a couple of years back. They sanctioned the Superstock division. They had a tie for, it's kind of like kissing your sister. Like, I wouldn't know what that's like. Somebody, you all might, I don't really know, but that's kind of what they say, like tie. Like, who wants a tie? But Chris Fuller, Dave Clausen, one from Chris is from Hamilton, Montana. Dave is from Deer Lodge. They both had 3 wins on the year, and they literally tied for the track championship, which means what? That means they tied for the state championship as well, because it was the only track in the state of Idaho, right? So a WISSOTA track in Idaho, co-champions out there, kind of a cool deal. Sobraski, the state champion in Minnesota. Terrence Spacek, a guy that I thought was going to contend for a natty, but then he just kind of took his foot off the gas, started running Jim Falls a little bit in Cedar Lake. But Terrence Spacek, the state champ in Wisconsin. Trevor Nelson, of course, in South Dakota. John Tribble in Montana. Chernosky, the only Canadian track with supers, was Thunder Bay, so he got that one done. So lots of Superstock action, including, so let's jump over. So there was one Superstock race here this past week, Electric City Speedway out in Great Falls, Montana. They had their opener, Casey Stephenson. He parked it in Victory Lane. Sounds like he kind of gave him a little bit of a beat down out there. Stephenson, of course, has won lots of races out in Electric City, out in Great Falls, Montana. But moving forward, we're going to talk, we're going to be talking every week. We're going to be bringing you recaps and not just kind of reading it off my race pass. I will be catching the action where? Dirt Race Central. Of course, the official streaming platform of WISSOTA Auto Racing and of the One to Go show. So we're going to be catching that. If there's drama, if there's series, there's points, battles, you name it, we're going to bring you all the action. Of course, buyraceshirts.com is going to be bringing you every single week moving forward the top 10, our power rankings. Might not be related to points, but it's going to be if these top 10 cats unloaded at your racetrack, all 10 of them, right? Or if a whole bunch of cars did, who would the top 10 contenders be to win some big races? A couple of them are pretty obvious. There's a couple that I tell you what, you need to keep your eye on. We're going to talk a little bit more about that moving forward. But for all things Superstock racing, mostly WISSOTA, but you got Jim Falls and Cedar Lake in the mix as well. Be sure to watch this every single week. Where can you find us? On our Facebook page for the One to Go show, on YouTube, on our channel for the One to Go show, and make sure to like it, subscribe, follow, do all those things. And if you ever have any content, things you want to talk about, stories, questions, whatever it may be, hit me up. We'll talk about it. We'll have a little fun. Hopefully you enjoy the content in the 2023 season. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.